Let me start this video with a statement. The Steve Caballero Cab 4s are the Nike Air Force One lows of the Vans range. Let that sink in for a second. I am saying that a pair of humble Vans, the Cab 4s, which are, most people don't know this, Steve Caballero Cab 4s are actually the fourth generation, so the fourth Vans shoe that Steve Caballero had. And they look like this. This is the newly reissued Steve Caballero Cab 4. On the Vans website, look under skateboarding or just search Cab 4. You are looking at a shoe that was first released. Vans are on a kick, right? They first re-released the Rowleys, which I bought far too many pairs of, and now they've re-released the Cab 4s, and I can't be happier. This is a full-on nostalgia trip for me. My brother bought me a pair of these. It's one of my first pairs of Vans. Was a pair of these in burgundy maroon, very dark, almost purplish color, with a red logo, with the red dragon logo, old school Vans logo, heel puller, super padded tongue, padded heel. You've got vulcanized construction, pop cush, because you're going to skate in them, and then you've got the Duracap construction, and then you've got quadruple actually stitched. This is quadruple stitched. And yeah, these are a nostalgia trip. But let me get back to my original statement. These shoes are the Air Force Ones of the Vans range. And some might say, we can find a brighter day. Some might say that I've completely lost my mind. And I'd agree. But these are the Air Force Ones. These were released in '97. The Air Force One high tops were originally released in '83. The lows, sorry, '82. The lows came in '83. And they're still around. A pair of Nike Air Force Ones. And a pair of Cab 4s. Now, I've owned these Air Force Ones for a long time actually, and I don't wear them very often because I don't even know what size they are. They're actually pretty mint. I've barely worn them. And as soon as I saw the Cab 4s in brown, I immediately thought of these shoes. Right? These are pretty much 10 years the predecessor, although these aren't not original Air Force One lows, but you know, I think these are probably about 8 or 9 years old, and they don't get worn anywhere near as much as they should because they're uncomfortable and they're also quite heavy. I save them for special occasions, which I don't do special occasions, so they don't get worn very much. They just sit in my shoe locker. But you can draw a parallel with these shoes because they are actually really similar, except you're going to skate in these. You're not going to skate in these. These, you know, Nike, they're fashion shoes, whereas for me, Vans are actually go to work, wear them every day, kick them around. And the construction, I have worn these for a couple of days. This was a fake unboxing. They're comfortable AF. And I mean seriously comfortable. For $135 Canadian, they size the same as the Ultra Range XE, so these are 8.5s, and they're super comfortable. You've got all of the padding and all of the cushion that you're going to want from a pair of skate shoes, with the extra Duracap and what do they call it? six stick outsole, which is basically the outsole of these shoes actually have some grip to them. These would be a long lasting skate shoe. I don't skate anymore. My ankles are done. My back's done. My shoulder's done. And my rib is getting better. But these are a long lasting pair of shoes. And if I remember when my brother got me these shoes from his first trip in America, bear in mind that was 97 or 98 probably. I kicked the shit out of those shoes. 97, 98, I was in my teens. So I wore them. They're a pair of Vans that had a fucking cool dragon on the side. I wore those day in, day out. Until the Rowleys came out. But I wore those day in, day out. Now I'm hoping after the last fairly damning video on the Ultra Range 2.0s, where I don't see them, well, they're not as comfortable and I see it as a cost cutting exercise. Vans, it seems, they're not what they used to be, right? These aren't expensive shoes. For some people they are, but 135 is not an expensive price. If these last anywhere near as long as I expect them to, and I will report back, these should be a good pair of daily shoes. Not in summer, because they don't, there's no air vent holes on them, which would actually lead to failure points. They are warm shoes. They are super well padded. They have a great heel cup. They've got a very padded tongue. They're warm shoes. But they should last, considering they're suede, they should last a really long time. And that's my hope. These are as comfortable as I remember them in 97. They really are. So Vans, this whole opening the vault and going back and re-releasing shoes, these feel like I remember them, but they have some upgrades. The pop cush sole and whatever else. They're actually probably more comfortable than I remember them from 97, 98. They're probably more comfortable. Whereas the Rowleys, on the flip side, bear in mind I've got the greens, the burgundies, the blues, the whites, the blacks, the greys, 6 or 7 different variants of the XLTs. They're not as comfortable as I remember them being. But then again, I also was 25, 20 plus years younger when I had them, and I didn't have a bum ankle and a bad back. These, although they are probably a little bit heavy, remember bum ankle, fucked back, so the XLSEs were my go-to because they were nice and light, and yet they lasted for a very long time. Now they've bitten the dust. I need a replacement. Ultra Range 2.0s. Probably not going to be it. But these, even though they're a little bit heavier, they are more comfortable. These might be it. There's 2 colorways right now. Baby blue and the brown. For me, the brown is actually a no-brainer. Goes with everything. Baby blue, not really my bag. I'm hoping they continue and they actually release the burgundy. If they release the burgundies, then there's absolutely no way that I'm not going to get, for nostalgia's sake, a bunch of pairs of those, hide them in the locker and have them and just kick the crap out of them. These have been scotch guarded and waterproofed, so they are lightly water resistant. So I can actually see them probably going all the way through the fall into very early snow territory before I switch to my MTE boots, although they're a little bit too warm. But I can see these going a good long time. We're still in peak summer, so they're not going to get much wear because it's too hot and sweaty feet. But you've got to admit, that's a good looking shoe. Classics don't die. They just age and get better. And Vans are doing a great job at bringing back some of the old shoes that some of us shoe geeks know and love. And that is an amazing thing. And hats off to Vans for doing that. I just hope the quality in this new version is the same as the old version. So, Steve Caballero, Cab 4s. In brown, they are the Air Force Ones of the Vans range. And they're a classic. Go grab a pair because I don't know how long they're going to be around for. And this is a pair of shoes you don't, if you're an old school skater or somewhat in your mid 30s, early 40s, this is a throwback. And if anything, if you look at the Rowleys with the release, they did the Dime release, which is the blue and white, which I've got upstairs, but they also did the Rowley XLT in blue and white. I missed that, so now I'm having to buy them on the secondary market. They were there and now they're gone. It may be the same with these, so don't sleep on them. Go grab yourself a couple of pairs. You'll thank me, and thank me in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe. My my rib is still completely douched. Next video will be about cameras. Take care. Peace. Go buy some Cab 4s.